So here's the question. Last week, you heard that I took some time off. And then that Monday, Dr. Iannelli came on and said, you know what? I'm going to take over the show. I want to find out what's happening with Angel. Well, it has been a week, and I am never been more rejuvenated, inspired, filled with so much joy and compassion. And I am literally on fire and ready to rock and roll because I am back. Have Faith, Let It Begin is in full swing, and it's a Monday rendition of Have Faith, Let It Begin. And I couldn't think of any other way to return than to do it with my good friend, Dr. Tom Iannelli. Have Faith, Let It Begin. Welcome back, Angel. Starts right now.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Have Faith, Let It Begin. My name is Angel. We are doing a simulcast on TikTok. Dr. E, I am back, my friend. How are you?
Angel Santana, hello. How are you, my friend? Hello, my dear friends from TikTok. What's going on?
I'll tell you, it has been a rocky week last week, but it was something that I needed to do. I was burnt out. I'm going to share with each and every one of you. I'm actually going to let you take it over because you give the greatest questions, and it puts me in a perspective to kind of answer them. And you don't let me sidetrack anything or bypass the questions. So I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you have questions for me. And today I promise the viewers that I will tell you at 100% what was going on.
Yep. Well, everybody on TikTok and elsewhere on all other platforms, I did have concern about your star and hero of this movie, Mr. Angel Santana. He was starting to show the signs of significant burnout, and in his position as a emergency announcer at the hospital, who has to be at his best every day with life and death on his lips every minute, trying to make sure everybody gets to the right places to get all the needy people who are ill the care that they need expeditiously. That's on his head. He is also the father of 2 young children. And as you know, for any parents out there, kids get sick all the time, which means parents get sick all the time. But unfortunately, parents can't take days off from work. Kids can take days off of school, and he had that on his head. He is also an amazing husband, an amazing son, an amazing friend. In addition to that, he also is preparing for a sermon at his church in 2 weeks. So he's got a lot going. Plus, he's the co-host of my podcast, and I sure keep him working. Had him out last night having some dinner, doing a board meeting, getting some work done. So, Angel, I guess my first question is, with all that's going on, women do this all the time, balance 18 balls in the air, but we guys, we don't do that very well. How can you do that? How do you balance everything between husband, father, son, friend, preacher, podcaster, and important component of our healthcare system that we both work at?
I would say that the hardest part, let me answer your question. How do I balance it? I try my very best to make as much time for my family first. I make that my first and foremost. Second is my primary job. And then everything in order, whether that's co-hosting and producing your show, or of course doing my show, and trying to make sure that I put that first before my own needs. Doesn't mean it's a great thing, but I try to give it at 150%. And when I do that, I find that things just work in my favor.
Angel, my next follow-up question is, I don't know if you realize the body of work you've put out there for all of us, as far as how listening to your podcast, how we become uplifted and how we are inspired by you. And, we get humor with you and you make us laugh when we're not, when we might be sad. And by sharing your personal experiences, you make us feel better about ourselves. Do you ever, because you've told me that when you do your podcast, you zone out. Do you hear yourself when you're doing these podcasts to help in your personal journey?
Well, first and foremost, great question. First and foremost, I don't write anything out because I'm driving. I'm commuting like everyone else. So because I'm commuting, um, I generally get my ideas from walking my dog at 5 in the morning. I take Cody out for a walk. I pray to the guy upstairs, and next thing you know, I'm in the car, I hit record, and it's a go. Um, so yes, sometimes when I'm going and I'm talking about a topic, I will zone out to the point where I don't really know what I just said. And sometimes I've found myself re-listening to it later because somebody has commented on something that I didn't realize I said. Case in point, I received so much feedback from everyone when they found out that I was quote unquote burnt out. And what I noticed was that people wanted to share with me what they got out of the Half Faith Let It Begin. And a good friend of mine from Rhode Island, Melody, wrote me. Dylan wrote me. You wrote me. And Carol gave me a video message, and people just told me that it's a very inspiring show, and it's something that I'm constantly giving personal and real, life feedback that allows people to relate allows people to relate with me and also spiritually.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And how many podcasts have you done so far on Have Faith?
Well, breaking news. Right now we're closing in on 1,400 episodes, but here's the breaking news. We literally today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time hit 80,000 downloads.
That's pretty amazing. So I want to let you know, this is my question. Do you know the impact you've had on all of these people? For our TikTokers are getting to know Angel and getting to know a little bit about him and his podcast. You're just new to this, so I really recommend you listen to a few episodes. But I mean, do you realize the amount of assistance you've helped, the amount of people you've assisted, the amount of assistance you have given to people who have been, spiritually anemic and in need of that boost, that spiritual boost, that those prayers that you end every podcast in? Do you realize the magnitude of your contributions?
I've been on the air 5 years, going into my 6th year in June. I will say that this is the first year that I can say that I've started to realize the impact, because a lot of people have started to give me a lot of feedback, and they're writing to me. And I think that's what helps. I think that what really helps is they continue to show or write to me and tell me, hey, this is something that has inspired me. This episode did well for me. Thank you for giving back my spirituality. Thank you for introducing me to God. I didn't realize that God existed. I didn't realize that Christianity or any type of religion can be so genuine. So, I would say that this is the first year that I'm starting to see that. Hey, Mansa.
And I got to be honest with you. Your podcast on that beautiful the love you gave to that very, very amazing transgender individual who was looking to speak to someone who was getting a lot of sass for, like being like, just because you happen to have certain beliefs or certain parts of you, that are not mainstream. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be spiritual, or you're not allowed to be loved, or you're not allowed to be accepted. And I think it's seldom for someone who does a spiritual podcast to have that position. Usually a person who might be on the fringe, or somebody who might need more understanding, is never getting it through that venue. And by you doing that, I think that you made a lot of people respect you. And I just want to let you know, and the TikTok people know, and the Have Faith Let It Begin people know, that was a really important thing. That was a really important step that you made, that acceptance. And I really appreciate that you did that.
Yeah, it was hard. I think that, I'll be honest, I think that that was probably the hardest thing I had to come to terms with. Not about the whole transgender thing, because like I said, I already accepted that, and I believe in that everybody has the right to their lifestyle. I think for me, it was more of, am I going to get backlash for this? But it was not to say that bothered me. I want that to be clear. I wasn't scared about the backlash. I was just curious what type of backlash I was going to get. And I got to tell you, we have reached on that one went well over 400,000 views, and not one negative feedback, not one.
And you know what? That's the way it should be, my friend. That's the way it should be. If one final question before we end the podcast. If you were to try to do a 3-sentence summary to the TikTok nation as to, what it is that they could receive from listening to Have Faith, Let It Begin, what would it be?
In 3 sentences?
Yes, not 4, not 7.
4. Okay, so
no.
not 4. 3 sentences. How can I describe Have Faith, Let It Begin? It's a motivational, inspirational, personal testimony podcast designed for the daily commuter. You will be inspired and you will be uplifted every day.
Wow, you did it in 2. Good for you. Angel Santana, Have Faith, Let It Begin. Let's end in a prayer, buddy.
All right. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for today's episode. We thank you for the TikTokers, and we thank you for everyone that's been listening. We thank you for Dr. Tommy Nelly, who continues to be a huge addition to the show on a Monday and also on a daily basis in my life. I'm hoping and praying that each and every one of you will continue to aspire to be a better person, to know that all of your wishes and all of your comments and all of your prayers for me has put me back into the co-pilot and pilot seat, because my co-pilot is definitely the guy upstairs. But in reality, I have 3 co-pilots. I have myself, I have the guy upstairs, and I have each and every one of you. So may God be with you. May he shine his light upon you and grant each and every single one of you peace on earth. And never forget,
have faith, let it begin.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around.